We appreciate you all coming.
Close to your mouth.
First of all, I want to just give a little bit of information about the Pomeroy Foundation. The William G. Pomeroy Foundation is a private grant-making organization based in Syracuse, New York, that helps communities celebrate and preserve their history through the 6 different marker signage programs they offer. Since 2006, they've been helping communities celebrate their local history with premium cast aluminum markers. Starting with just 32 markers in Onondaga County, New York, they have now funded over 2,600 markers across 49 states. Here in Sodus, we are grateful to the foundation that has awarded us multiple markers in the last year. We appreciate the assistance we received from Christy Kuhn in the application process and Zach Finn in researching and locating required documentation needed for the veterans. In addition, Sons of the American Revolutionary War member Tim Middlebrook spent hours locating the burial papers and pension papers required as proof to qualify for the markers. Locally, former SAR member Darrell Verstraete was a valuable resource because of his past research of our local patriots. And we have Hannah Ward here from Assemblyman Brian Minkteloh's office. Hannah, you want to?
Thank you so much. I am here with a New York State Assembly citation for the South Sodus Cemetery in recognition of the Patriot Marker dedication honoring the Revolutionary War soldiers who are laid to rest here. Having fought and served in the Revolutionary War, these brave men and women were pivotal in establishing our country. Signed June 16th, 2025, by Assemblymember Brian D. Minkteloh.
Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate it. Thank you. And our Town of Sodus our Town of Sodus historian is going to give us a little bit of information about the South Sodus Cemetery.
Hello. I'm going to talk a little bit about the cemetery. It is always hard to find much information about a plot of land without talking about who's in it. It's the South Sodus Cemetery, located on the corner of Route 14 and Wayne Center Road in Sodus. This cemetery, like most cemeteries in Sodus, started out as a local family cemetery. It's located on the Chaplin farm. The first person buried here is Charles Chaplin, not Charlie Chaplin, Charles Chaplin. He was born in April 28th, 1781 in Stonehenge, Connecticut, and died here in Sodus October 20th, 1819 at the age of 38. His plot is right there, the tall monument with the evergreen right above it. That's where his family plot is. He was married to Eunice Abel Chaplin, and they got married in 1809 in Connecticut. They moved to Sodus in 1813 with one son, John. John was born 1810, died 1858, and they also had 3 other sons, Charles, George, and William. Charles, the father, was a farmer, and several of his sons also worked on the farm. So this was one big farm area through here owned by the Chaplins. When Charles died, he had 4 children. The oldest was 9, 4, 2 years, and 6 months was the baby. His son William and family are buried here in the family plot as well. And that's all I got for it.
Okay, the first of our 4 soldiers, James Green. Karen?
Hi, James Green. There's very little known about him. He was born in Fishkill, Dutchess County, New York, in 1758, and he resided there most of his life. I have found no real family information on the family other than that he had a son. He joined the service in the fall of 1776 and was in and out as a volunteer various times over the next 3 years. In March of 1779, he enlisted for 1 year, and again in 1782 he re-enlisted for 9 months. He was in the companies of Captain George Binkerhoff, Captain Elijah Lears, and finally Captain Gilbert Livingston. He was in no major battles at all during the year, but he went on many marches and was in many forts. He was even in a big march after the burning of Kingston. It took many court appearances to procure his pension from being in the service. Each of the captains that he served under had to confirm that he was the James Green that served with them and describe what he did while in their command, from the marches that he went on to the forts that he stayed in. He even had to go to court to transfer his pension when he moved to Sodus, Wayne County, New York, to live with his son Isaac because of ill health and age. He died in June of 1836 and is buried in the South Sodus Cemetery near his son.
Thank you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jonathan Pendle. Jonathan Pendle was born on June 9, 1749 in Bolton, Hartford County, Connecticut. He was married in 1770 to Mary Powis, who was a little over 15 years old, and he was 20 or 21, depending on the date of the marriage, which I don't know the exact date. Jonathan and Mary had at least 6 children between 1775 and 1800. Jonathan, Benjamin, Moses, Elijah, Oliver, and James, all boys. Jonathan enlisted in the U.S. Army several times, beginning in August of 1775 at the age of 26 in Fredericksburg, which is now called Patterson, Dutchess County. He served under Captain Jacobus Rosecrans in the militia, in Lieutenant Colonel Philip Van Cortlandt's 4th New York Regiment. He served for 5 months and re-enlisted in August 1776, serving under Captain William Pierce and Colonel James Holmes, again in the 4th New York Regiment, assisting in the building of Fort Independence near Kingsbridge in Bronx County. Bronx County. Jonathan volunteered in 1777 and served as orderly sergeant in Captain Pierce's regiment. An orderly sergeant refers to the first sergeant of a company, historically responsible for conveying orders. I had to look that up, so I'm sharing it with you. He volunteered again in 1779 with Captain Jonathan Hallett and Colonel Thomas's, here's a name for you, Colonel Thomas, his 2nd New York Regiment. At one time, he also served as a quartermaster sergeant in Captain Pierce's regiment. In 1776, the Continental Army established the rank of quartermaster sergeant as the 2nd most senior soldier in the non-commissioned headquarters element of an infantry regiment. And here's a quote about a quartermaster sergeant. The quartermaster sergeant assisted the regimental quartermaster, assuming his duties in the quartermaster's absence and supervising the proper loading and transport of the regiment's baggage when on march. Though Jonathan served only several months each time, he enlisted 4 times, volunteered twice, and was called out the last time. He spent time at Fort George, now Lake George, and Fort Edward, which was south of Lake George near Glens Falls. From his birth and during the Revolutionary War, Jonathan lived in Bolton in Hartford County, Connecticut, and in Paulding in Dutchess County. After the Revolutionary War, he lived in Saratoga in Saratoga County, Pompey in Onondaga County, and Sodus in Wayne County. He was 83 years old when he finally applied for a pension on October 1st, 1832. He received the great amount of $55.09 a year. In 1834, a judge described Jonathan as an old and poor and withal an honest old man. He died in December or possibly June of 1839 at the age of 90. His tombstone says that he was also in the War of 1812, so perhaps he lived in the Sodus area at that time. He would have been 64 years old and at the time of the Battle of Sodus Point on June 19th and 20th, 1813. At first glance, without filling out the entire family tree, it appears that John and then Jonathan were popular names in the Pendle family, going back several generations. The Pendle family originated in England. I was unable to discover when Jonathan Pendle came to Sodus, what he did for a living after the Revolutionary War, or where he lived in Sodus. Now it's you.
The third soldier was Christopher Pope. He was born in Somerset County, New Jersey in 1753. He served 3 or 4 years prior to April 1781 as a Minuteman when he guarded the New Jersey lines and took part in short tours of 1 month or more. In the spring of 1777, he served in the militia in the battles of Bound Brook and Millstone. And then on June 28, 1778, he was also in the Battle of Monmouth. On April 1, 1781, Christopher enlisted and served as a private in Captain John Outwater's company in Colonel Thenis Day's New Jersey Regiment. He was discharged April 1, 1782. On the same day of his discharge, he re-enlisted and served as a private on Captain Peter Ward's company, again part of Colonel Thenis Day's New Jersey Regiment. His second discharge took place April 1st, 1783. He was granted his pension on October 1st, 1832, while he was a resident of Rose, New York. He died on November 22nd, 1834. After his death, his wife, Mary Landau, whom he married in 1781, was granted his pension in January 1844. During their marriage, they had 7 children. One of their sons, James, and his wife, Nancy Murphy Pope, are also buried here. This has been of special significance to my sister and me because Elsie Pope Burns was our maternal grandmother. Because of our relationship to her, Christopher and Mary Pope were our 4th great-grandparents, and James and Nancy Pope were our 3rd great-grandparents. It has been a privilege working on and securing the Patriot Marker for this cemetery because of my family's connection to one of our American Revolutionary War soldiers. What?
The battery died.
Oh, it's not on?
Well, Nate's is still working.
Oh. Okay. The 4th soldier, unfortunately, Patty Paprocki was supposed to cover this one and she couldn't be here today. So the 4th soldier was Elijah Taylor. He was a 5th generation in his family in America, descending from Puritan John Taylor of Hadley, Massachusetts. His parents were Reuben and Desiree Kentfield Taylor. They had 8 children. Elijah was born in South Hadley, the youngest in a set of triplets. There was also a set of twins. His older brother Reuben fought in the Battle of Bunker Hill. Elijah enlisted in 1780 at the age of 17 and served under Job Alvord's company, part of Colonel S. Murray's regiment. In 1782, he was listed on Captain Allen's muster roll. After the war, Elijah owned a tannery business and moved to New York State. According to an article from July 17, 1992, in the Newark Courier-Gazette, Elijah came to South Sodus after the war and worked with the Native Americans. The article revealed that, and this is a quote, an Indian consort, Anne, and only child, Alfred, both died very young and are unmarked graves in the Sodus Center Cemetery. Elijah then returned to Massachusetts and joined the soldiers to control the mob that threatened the court in Shays' Rebellion in February 1787. After the rebellion, the Articles of Confederation were revised, which strengthened the U.S. Constitution. In October of 1787, Elijah married Rachel Hubert. Together, they had 8 children, 1 boy and 7 daughters. The son, Elijah P., later served as the supervisor of Galen. He also ran a tannery in Lyons. 2 of the daughters died before the family even left Northampton. The family moved to South Sodus in the early 1800s. They lived on what is now referred to as the old Route 104, which is over here where that intersection is. They lived, that's just southwest of this cemetery. Elijah made his living as a farmer. He and his wife moved to Lyons, where they both died. They were buried in the cemetery on Broad Street, where the Presbyterian Church now stands. So Elijah and Rachel were reburied in the cemetery. Many descendants of this family have lived in this area over the years. According to the 1992 newspaper article, many family reunions have taken place at the Hartman Cottage in Sodus Point. And that's the 4 of our soldiers that we are honoring today. So now we will unveil the marker. Where's Ann?
I'm here, right behind you.
Now she's going to come back. You're going to come back. Yes, I was headed that way. Yeah, right. I would like to say again we appreciate the generosity of the William G. Pomeroy Foundation, who have provided the Patriot Marker for the South Sodus Cemetery. We hope the marker will draw attention to this site that has been here since the early days of our town and to those buried here. The Town of Sodus Historical Society thanks all of you for attending this special dedication today. And next year, 2 more of our markers will be dedicated. They are going to be over in the Brick Church Cemetery on South Geneva Road. 1 for the cemetery and